The Range Rover Velar, designed to intrigue. Newstalk ZB.
Morning, 7 minutes past 7, so the illness is abated. The Prime Minister is back and Monday becomes Thursday. That's how it works. Christopher Luxon is with us. Very good morning to you.
Good to see you, Mike. I know you're a germaphobe, and I would have been here with a hazmat on Monday and you wouldn't have liked it, so I'm here on Thursday.
Well, I'm glad you're back and feeling better. So just before the news, we gave out the Auckland Chamber of Commerce energy. There are energy concerns, first of all from business. They're afraid to speak out. They believe they're being ripped off by the gentailers. They're afraid to speak out in case when they go for contracts next time they're going to be punished for that. Here's the more important part. 52% of businesses say they've increased their prices as a direct result of rising energy costs.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a number of things on energy. I mean, our immediate fixation is, we've had the oil and gas ban, which has meant that we're now pushing more coal than we are gas, which is not good. We've now done several things in the short term to make sure we don't have a repeat of what we saw last year, which was, we had some of the highest wholesale electricity prices in the world at one point, and that led to people like mills and high energy places doing it pretty tough. This year we've got a strategic coal reserve, which we're building, which is not what you want to have, but you need to have it so you can keep the lights on and keep the prices down. We've got clear processes around how we get into the contingent lake storage if we need to, and we'll continue to explore how we might do importation of LNG directly into the system. So, I just encourage certainly the organisation, the association, to actually talk to Simon Watts about all those issues, because we are very open to hearing about that. We're very open to seeing what more we need to do.
Right.
We can't have energy be the constraint on the economy and economic growth.
But this dovetails into what was happening yesterday with the Reserve Bank and inflation. There are still people passing on costs. We had the head of the Ports of Auckland yesterday. I can't remember the number, but it's a huge number, 70% or something like that. They're increasing for trucks to get into the port. He argues two things. One, they want to try and gerrymander the traffic so there's not as much traffic in Auckland, come to a different slot. The other thing he wants to do is hand back more money to the council because the council owns the port. He's charging people more money simply because he can. And Energy are charging people more money simply because they can.
Well, that mentality, when you get inflation down at 2.2 or 2.5%, under the 3%, that we're expecting prices to stabilise across the system.
But
you're seeing that in the macro. Well, you're seeing that in the macro inflation numbers, right?
Are you?
Well, you are, because they're down at 2.5, not 7.3.
Well, they're trending up towards 2.7, towards the top end of the band. That's the problem. My great concern is that we're not getting the growth to drive inflation. If we had inflation from growth, fantastic. We're getting inflation from people charging people more because they can.
No, we are seeing real growth in the economy. You look at what's happened with, what you're seeing in dairy. You look at red meat, another $1.4 billion, $2 billion this coming year. Look at horticulture, grew 12% in the last 12 months, up to $8 billion. Tourism growing at 23% in terms of spend. So it's a bit too speed at the moment, but go around parts of the country, Otago, Southland, Canterbury, and Hawke's Bay.
Go around parts of the country. Are you having drinks with Christian Hawkesby last night? Because here's his problem. So yes, that part of the economy is brilliant, fantastic, couldn't be happier. Go downtown Auckland, downtown Wellington.
Still tough.
It's not happening.
No, I agree with you. I agree. That's what I'm saying to you. We've been through a tough time. We are turning the corner because at least you've got change happening. You've got some growth happening in different parts of the sector. I think there's starting to be some growth in manufacturing and services, which is good. Well, there's no growth. No, you can't. Don't mislead us. There's growth in manufacturing.
Yep. Multi-month growth in manufacturing. There's no growth in services, and there hasn't been for ages.
Well, we did earlier in the year have some start to growth. I mean, it's not as negative as it once was, but we've got growth coming in that space. I'm just saying to you, it's a natural recovery, which is that you've got two speed at the moment, where you've got some parts doing really well, some parts not. It will come to Auckland last.
Well, but here's where Christian's got the problem, and I don't know whether it's his fault or whether it's the mandate's fault, but he's talking, and I liken it to 10 people in the room, and he's going, we need to raise $100. And the dairy farmer, number one, goes, I've got $100, we're cool. And he goes, oh, fantastic, economy's right. And it's not right. And so yesterday's busy saying that there are no more cuts coming, because we're right, and we're not right.
Well, I think my read of it is there's huge amount of volatility going forward that he's trying to navigate. I presume I would expect that we would want to see continued interest rate cuts over the period.
Well, that's
of time.
not what he was saying yesterday.
The second bit I'd just say is that the economy is coming. We are genuinely turning the corner. Now the point's a fair one, which you're making, which is how do you make sure it's a much more even, that everyone feels that, right? That's natural. But where you've been where we've been, and then you're trying to get to where we're getting to, which is more consistent growth across all sectors in the economy. I think honestly things like investment boost are going to go really well.
Good.
Honestly, like the number of people I've spoken to in that's been the highlight of the budget. When you go talk to small, medium enterprises in East Tamaki yesterday, that are small businesses wanting to invest $200,000 in a CNC machine that's 5 times more productive than the one they've currently got. I was in a place day before yesterday. They had equipment from 1948 there, and it's just that 20% just means that just makes those proposals, those business cases, cash flow positive, and therefore they pull those forward. I reckon you're going to see a massive field days, this year with people buying tractors and headers and all sorts.
But once again, that's a reflection of the rural economy.
Sure,
and I hope you're right.
Flows through. I know what you're saying. It
doesn't flow through to Queen Street unless you're a bank.
But it will ultimately, right? It is starting to happen. When you look at our export-led growth that's actually been happening, which is what you want to see. We've had 21% growth to the UK, we had 28% growth to the EU. We've got core sectors growing really well, tourism, education coming back strongly. Those are the things that start to give you confidence that's why I say confidently we are turning the corner.
Good, all right, I hope you're right.
But I know what you're saying. It's got to be even, and it's got to be felt across the whole country.
Leaking in the public service. Let's take a break and talk about that in a moment. 7:13.
Got a minute? Get the news that matters. Play Newstalk ZB on iHeartRadio.
For a limited time, from 0% finance and no deposit across the entire Hyundai SUV range. Simply undeniable value is what a Hyundai SUV stands for. Visit Hyundai.co.nz for T's, C's, fees and lending criteria.
Buying or selling gold or silver? Deal with the company that has a solid reputation. Regal Bullion. Trading for over 40 years and primary distributor for the Perth Mint. Regal Bullion. 0800 881 888.
Fine wine delivery.co.nz.
Hi, it's Jeff. We sell containers of Californian Chardonnay. Locatua Creamy Chardonnay is our #1. Lavish Golden Queen Peach, Mango, Pineapple, Vanilla, Toasty Oak and freshly whipped butter. 100% creamy seduction. 5-star Locatua Creamy Chardonnay, the butteriest Californian. Spectacular at $18.99.
Fine wine delivery.co.nz.
Here's to the cold season. That time of year that starts with a spring in your throat, which quickly turns into snotty snivels and one-eyed dribbles. It's time to pull a sickie for actually being sick before taking your daily dose of Mandarin C and making sure to grab a box of tissues to avoid diving nose first into a roll of toilet paper. Here's to getting through the cold with Foursquare. What'll it be today?
One Cover is giving away 10K so you can vacay your way. Imagine the wonderful holiday you could have with an extra 10 grand in your travel budget. Just buy a One Cover travel insurance policy today for your chance to win. One Cover, it's the one thing you need when one thing goes wrong. T's and C's apply. One Cover is underwritten by HDI Global Specialty SE New Zealand. Always read the policy wording to decide if the travel insurance is right for you at onecover.co.nz.
In 1971, Sir Edmund Hillary climbed Aulraki Mount Cook wearing Norsewear socks.
Yesterday, Rebecca stopped for ice cream halfway through her evening jog wearing Norsewear socks. You don't have to be Sir Ed to experience tough comfort. Norsewear.co.nz. Made in New Zealand since 1963.
Newstalk ZB, 8:16. The Prime Minister is with us. Just to wrap up the Christian Hawkesby thing, because it was ironic. I saw you and Nicola yet again come out, as you do, as you should, and go, interest rate cuts, fantastic money flowing into the economy. Yep. If there are no more interest rates cuts, which is what I got from Hawkesby yesterday, because he's neutral on it, then what are you going to say?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't take that as there's no more cuts coming.
He said he's neutral. He says neutral. You wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're not coming, right? I mean, but that aside, I mean, the cool thing is that we've seen a 2.25% reduction in interest rates. If you've got a $500,000 mortgage, that's $300 a fortnight you've got back in your pocket. You're spending back in the economy, as we talked about before. Strengthening retail economy, centering hospitality. I think the point I was trying to make yesterday, which, the opposition like to say, oh, well, you've got nothing to do with it, it's all about the Reserve Bank. And the point is, you go talk to any Reserve Bank governor across the world or any economist, and we had a situation where fiscal and monetary policy did not work together to actually deal with the challenges we had. You had ultimately, or eventually decided to stop printing money and put the foot on the brakes. And meanwhile, Hipkins carried on with the foot on the accelerator, spraying it all over the place.
Yeah, he didn't. Hawkesby let you down on that yesterday because the question was reasonably clear, and he said that your spending or lack of spending had nothing to do with it. And I'm assuming he meant in retrospectivity.
The way the economists think about externalities that might be affecting their forecasts.
It's got to do with debt.
But you have to have those two working together, and it's interesting. I saw some great charts from Sharon Zollner showing exactly that, when it got disjointed. The volatility and, you foot and accelerator at the same time, cars in the ditch, and that's what happened, right?
Exactly. Brian Roach, and you and I have talked about this a number of times. I think, without blowing my own trumpet, I've been proved to be right. This business of leaking in the public service, they don't like you. They're out to get you.
Well, they may not like us. The point is we have a politically neutral public service.
No, you don't.
No, well,
You've got a bunch of leakers.
Well, we've got some leakers. I mean, I think, and the problem is those leaks actually undermine the actual other people in the public service who are actually very, very good. And I think that's pretty unfair. So I don't know whether it's more or less than what other governments have encountered.
But what's he going to do about it?
Well, I mean, we've just got to keep reiterating the point, and we've got to keep investigating them when they happen if we can.
Is that good enough?
Because I'm more worried about what it does to undermine the public service. Now, the question is, in a democracy, you can do wholesale regime change like you do in the US when a new government comes in, they're political appointees. Even in Australia, there's a period of time where there's political appointments made early in a new government. I don't think New Zealanders want that. They like the idea of a politically neutral public service. I think we've got relatively few leaks. I know, it's frustrating when you see it, but the bottom line is, compared to the amount of work we're doing, I mean, we turned 52 bills into law last year in our first part of the year. I mean, that's incredible. No one's done that for ages. We've done more work, I think, in half a term than people have done in 2 terms in recent history. So, there's a lot of throughput going through, and I just think it's disappointing because it undermines the public service, and I think that's a decision for Brian to get into.
Erica Stanford, India, is that a beat-up?
Personally, it is. I mean, she could have expressed herself better, get it. But what she was really saying was she gets hit with a whole bunch of unsolicited emails from people all over the world wanting to come to New Zealand and plead their case. In this case, it was to her personal emails. That's just not right. She was dealing with that issue and saying the volume of what she's got. But there's no. I'm very relaxed about it. We've got a great relationship with our Indian counterparts. We've already met face to face on the FTA negotiations. And that's still got lots of momentum, which is good.
Only got 1 minute left, and this isn't your department, but it does dovetail into what's wrong with this country.
Bus service number 27.
No, it's not. It's close though. Waiuku.
Yeah.
$400,000 to build a raised pedestrian crossing. Explain to me how it costs $400,000 to do that.
Yep, I've got no idea. It's the short answer. But I've said for $400,000, I'll go out and do a working bee on the weekend myself.
But that says everything that's wrong with this country right now, doesn't it? In terms of productivity and expenditure.
Mike, you've got to be in the arena trying to turn it around. And I know it's frustrating, and I get hit with this stuff each and every day. But by God, we've got to get more right than wrong, and we've got to keep trying, keep swinging.
All right, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Christopher Luxon, it is 7:20.